Hello, amazing YouTube viewers. This is Collector 513 with another collection video. This one is of my racing games. I have a lot on the PlayStation consoles. I have a lot in general. I don't have as many as I have horror games and fighting games, but this video will be in chronological order. We're starting with the Nintendo, Sony, then Xbox. I have some on Sega, just a few on the Sega consoles. So, let's get started in chronological order. First one, alphabetical order as well. First one is F1 Rock for the Super Nintendo. As you can see, this was from Blockbuster. The last one for Super Nintendo, F-Zero. I don't have many racing games on the Super Nintendo. I had quite a few on Nintendo, but they were all stolen. Next console from Nintendo, Cruis'n USA. Diddy Kong Racing. It's very similar to Mario Kart for those who like Mario Kart. Excite Bike 64. Mario Kart 64. My favorite racing game on the N64. Love it. Still played to this day. Rally Challenge 2000. Star Wars Racer, Episode 1 Racer. Top Gear Rally. And last for N64, Wave Race 64. Now I have one racing game on the Game Boy Color. That is Lego Racers. Only one for the Game Boy Color. Now, we're moving on to the Nintendo GameCube, because they came out after the N64. Burnout. Disney's Pixar Cars. F-Zero GX. This is a sequel. No, I know there's an F-Zero on N64. I've never got. Mario Kart Double Dash. This is my favorite racing game on the Nintendo GameCube. This would be my runner-up. Need for Speed Underground 2. Need for Speed Carbon. And last but not least for the Nintendo GameCube, Street Racing Syndicate, or SRS. Okay, now we're moving on to the Nintendo Wii. I bought this for my son. Disney Pixar Cars Race-O-Rama, because he loves cars. If y'all remember me saying that in my other Disney video, he loves cars. Mario Kart Wii. I do have this steering wheel to this. I don't know why I didn't share the peripherals I have the racing wheels and stuff. Sonic Sega All Stars Racing. Just like Diddy Kong Racing and Mario Kart. I'm done with the Wii, and this is the only Wii U racing game I have. Mario Kart 8. And that is all for the Nintendo racing games. Now, I forgot to tell you all, I am doing combat racing, arcade, games with cars in it, action games with cars, driving, for example, Driver, Crazy Taxi. I'm also doing extreme sport racing games. Certain ones with the ATVs and MXs and the bikes. I will not do snowboarding. I will not do skateboarding. There are a few skateboarding and snowboarding racing games, but I would not include those. We are doing Sega now. I only have a few for Sega, so Sega will go pretty fast. Crazy Taxi for the Dreamcast. Sega GT. And that is all for Dreamcast. I have one racing game for the Saturn, and that is Daytona USA. Blue, blue sky. I remember that song. That is all for Sega. Now, let's move on to Sony. Starting with the PS1, 2, 3, and then it'll stop. And then I'll go to my Sony handheld racing games, because I stopped playing racing games during the PS3, PSP era. Alright, let's get started. First game, 007 Racing. Bravo Air Race. Driver. I wouldn't consider this a racing game. As I said, it's an action driving game. You're using a vehicle. Driver 2. Gran Turismo. The very first one, where it all began. Gran Turismo 2. This would be my favorite racing game for the PS1. Jet Moto. My uncle was really good at these. I've always sucked at them, because I always flew off the track. Jet Moto 2. But I got good at them as an adult. Buying them again as an adult, I got good at them. But as a kid, I sucked. Jet Moto 3. NASCAR 2000. This is a combat racing game. Red Assault. Forgot to show this. Here's the big one. Destruction Derby. Ridge Racer. Ridge Race Revolution. Rage Racer. This is basically Ridge Racer 3. It's completely named differently. A lot of people don't know that. Ridge Racer 4. R4. Road and Track presents the Need for Speed, the very first one that ever came out. There is a 3DO release I would like to get as well. The Need for Speed 2. Not the, but just Need for Speed 2. Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. Need for Speed High Stakes. Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed. Need for Speed V Rally. And the last Need for Speed V Rally 2 Need for Speed. Those are all the Need for Speeds for PS1. Snowcross Championship Racing. Wasn't too much of a fan of this. I like Celestorm better. I don't have Celestorm, no. I played it on the demo. Sports Superbike 2. Test Drive Off-Road. The very first test drive to ever come out for the PlayStation. I looked it up. I couldn't believe there were other test drives that came out before these. Test Drive Off-Road 2. Test Drive Off-Road 3. Test Drive 4. Test Drive 5. Test Drive 6. And the last test drive for the PlayStation. I have all of them for PS1. Test Drive Le Mans. Or Le Mans. Alright, now this is a vehicular combat game. Twisted Metal, the very first one. Twisted Metal 2. And I don't have 4 or Small Brawl. I wish I did. Twisted Metal 3. And this is the last PlayStation racing game / car combat game. Now, let's move on to PS2. PS2 is the biggest collection I have for racing games. Most of this collection is from PS2. I have a lot, so I'm gonna try to get through these fast. Starting with American Chopper. American Chopper 2, Full Throttle. ATV Off-Road Fury. ATV Off-Road Fury 2. ATV Off-Road Fury 3. ATV Off-Road Fury 4. Auto Modelista. Burnout. Burnout 2, Point of Impact. Burnout 3, Takedown. My favorite one. Favorite Burnout. Burnout Revenge. Last Burnout for PS2. Burnout Dominator. There were only 2 Corvette games released on the PS2. Corvette. Corvette Evolution. Crash and Burn. Crash Nitro Kart. Crazy Taxi. Driven. Driver 3. Driver Parallel Lines. DT Racer. F1 2001. Ferrari Challenge. Trofeo Ferrari. And Flat Out. I do not have Flat Out 2. I need Flat Out 2. Ford Racing 2. The first one is on PlayStation. I don't have it. Ford Racing 3. Ford versus Chevy. Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Gran Turismo 4. Jack X Combat Racing. Jeep Thrills. LA Rush. Midnight Club. Midnight Club 2. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. There is a greatest hits version. I don't buy greatest hits games much, but that greatest hits version has different things in it. There were some greatest hits versions on the PS2 that were like that. Devil May Cry, Midnight Club, and Silent Hill 2. Those greatest hits had different things on it. And Max vs. ATV Unleashed. NASCAR 2001. I'm a huge NASCAR fan when it comes to video games. No, I do not watch it or go to the races. I just like the video games. Same with golf. I love golf and volleyball games, but I don't watch the sport. NASCAR Thunder 2002. NASCAR Thunder 2003. NASCAR Thunder 2004. NASCAR Thunder or NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. NASCAR 07. NASCAR 08. And the last NASCAR from EA Sports for PS2 and NASCAR 09. I have every single NASCAR EA Sports game released on the PS2. NASCAR Heat 2002. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Need for Speed Underground. Need for Speed Underground 2. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Need for Speed Carbon. Need for Speed Pro Street. I actually have that for 360 and PS3. So I literally have all the versions of the game except the PC version. And if there was any handheld version, I think there's a PSP version I don't have. I think. Need for Speed Undercover. This is the last Need for Speed release for the PS2. I do have them all for PS2. Have them all. Power Drone. Combat racing game right there. Or Racing Revolution. Evolution. Not Revolution. Ridge Racer 5. And this is a action driving game. Smugglers Run. New missions and everything. While driving a buggy. Smuggler's Run 2, Hostile Territory. Spy Hunter 2, or Spy Hunter. I really want to. That's all I said too. I really want to. I don't have to. SRS, Street Racing Syndicate. Star Wars Racer Revenge. Star Wars Super Bombad Racing. Stuntman. Stuntman Ignition. Supercar Street Challenge. Super Trucks Racing. Test Drive. I do need Wide Open, and I think there was another one. I may be mistaken if there was another one on PS2. I do need those. Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero. I do need 2 and 3. I only have this one on PS2. It's still a racing collection in progress. It's not fully complete, but I still need a lot of racing games. Twisted Metal Black, my favorite Twisted Metal in the entire franchise. That, in my opinion, is the best one. And the last but not least of the PS2 Vehicular Combat Racing Vehicle Mission games, Reckless, the Yakuza missions. This is like an arcade an arcade vehicle game. Okay, moving on to the PSP racing games. Still in the Sony universe. Need for Speed Rivals, Underground Rivals. Now I'm going to work on getting all the rest of the Need for Speed for the PSP. I'm going to get those. I'm getting back into collecting PSP games. Twisted Metal Head On. Or Head On. Not plural. Now, let's move on to PS3. Motor Storm. This is the very first racing game I've ever played on a PS3. And actually, the very, 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 very first PS3 game I've ever played. Need for Speed Pro Street. I told you I have all of those. I have the Need for Speed Pro Streets on all the consoles. Need for Speed Carbon. Need for Speed Undercover. Clearly, Need for Speed is my favorite racing game ever. Need for Speed Shift. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Shift 2 Unleashed. Need for Speed. Need for Speed The Run. Need for Speed Most Wanted. I just got a notification that my last Need for Speed game, Rivals, came in for PS3. So I'm going to run downstairs, get it out of the mailbox. And not now, but I will do 2 other car games at the end, including that one that I forgot to include. One on Nintendo and Need for Speed Rivals. I will show you all after I'm done with this video, after I'm done showing these games. Now we're moving on to the Xbox. And this is the last of the racing games I have. The last of them. Forza Motorsport. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Project Gotham Racing. Project Gotham Racing 2. And last for Xbox, Sega GT 2002. And that is the last racing for Xbox. Now let's move on to Xbox 360. This is the last of racing games, and then I'll show you the rest that I forgot to show earlier. Burnout Revenge for the 360. Moving on to Xbox 360 now. Full Auto. This was so fun. I need Full Auto 2 for PS3. I need that. I love Full Auto. Burnout Paradise. Ridge Racer 6. And last but not least, for the Xbox 360, Need for Speed Pro Street. Okay. Now, I'll show you the 2 PlayStation games I forgot. Motor Tune Grand Prix. And Rogue Trip Vacation 2012. I forgot what day year read, so I had to read it. And a Nintendo racing, well, not a racing, but a car combat game, Road Blasters. Now we'll show you the last Need for Speed I have on PS3. Need for Speed Rivals for the PS3. And I have every Need for Speed on PS1, PS2, and PS3. Now I work on PS4 and PS5 titles. That way, and PSP, and PS Vita. That way I can have the entire collection. I would like every Need for Speed. Then I will move on to Ridge Racer, Burnout, Gran Turismo. I do want the complete Ultimate Collection. I do. And we're getting back into racing games. So yes. That there, folks. Here you go. It's all my racing games. I don't know what video I'll do next. Wow. I have a lot of stuff to share, a lot of great ideas to share with you wonderful viewers. And I want to thank you all for subscribing. Oh my God, thank you so much. And liking my videos, commenting below. Thank you. And you all have a wonderful day. Collector 513 out.